Innkeeper Laszlo Kronberg and his wife Susi faced a bleak future in their little Hungarian town of Tiszacut. It was 1919, and the couple had spent their savings trying to keep their inn going throughout the Great War. Now, they hardly had enough money to buy food. There had been other tragic misfortunes. Their only daughter had run away to Budapest, where she was said to be a prostitute. Their eldest son Nicholas had also run away, fleeing the house at the age of 9 after Laszlo whipped him for failing at school. Their other 2 sons had died in the war. Night after night the old couple would sit and discuss the hopeless years ahead. At last they came to the grim decision that there was only one hope: murder for profit. Carefully they prepared for the killings. Laszlo dug a long trench 6 foot deep in the woods. He filled it with quicklime, prepared to tell anyone who asked that he was planning to build new outhouses. From the village store, Susi brought home a small brown sack filled with strychnine crystals. She told the storekeeper that she was going to use it to poison wolves. Between 1919 and 1921, 10 people breathed their last at the Kronberg Inn. In all cases there had been good wine, with dinner and an even more remarkable vintage afterwards, heavily laced with strychnine. The couple grew more cautious as their stolen wealth increased. There must be only one more victim, and then the quicklime pit would be sealed forever. He came on August the 14th, 1922, a genial fat man in his mid-30s, with a suitcase so heavy that it must surely contain gold coins. He had been a salesman for years, and was now looking for good land in which he could invest his money. When Susi cooked the evening meal and Laszlo served it, the visitor insisted that it must be his guests for supper, and that they must call him by his nickname, Lucky. Throughout the festive 2-hour meal, the guests talked about his travels, and were so friendly that the Kronbergs were reluctant to kill him. But it had to be done, and at last Susi brought in the special wine. Their fat guest died as he drained his glass, convulsing, his lips curled back from his teeth in the final spasm of strychnine poisoning. In Lucky's bedroom, they searched his bag, and saw at once they had been right. There was a fortune in gold coins. His hands shaking, Laszlo poured through the dead man's clothes, and then saw something else. A snapshot of the Kronbergs themselves. The couple looked at each other with dawning horror and grief. They had murdered their long-lost son. They left the gold and went back to the dining room, where Nicholas was slouched at the table. They wrote a short confession, and then sat down with him. 3 days later the villagers found them, all dead from strychnine poisoning. During the years that followed, few ventured inside the house. Those daring to stay 2 or 3 nights with a view to buying the place were always frightened off by the same grisly apparition, the sight of 13 ghostly figures from the 1920s, seated around the dining table. Each had its lips peeled back in a ghastly strychnine grin. Another world war came and went. The house became dilapidated, but still no one would spend a night inside or even go near it. Then, on September the 23rd, 1980, flames licking at the evening sky told the village that an arsonist had been at work. The old inn was reduced to ashes. No one tried to find the culprit. No one cared. Tiszacut was now at last free of its house of horror.